Hey, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here. It is March 5th, 2018. 4:51 p.m. here, and taking a look at the live stream and video update that I'm doing right now. I made a couple additions here to the stream screen. Say that a few times. That's a little tongue twister. Anyway, I included a separate seismograph station there for Yellowstone National Park. Meaning the one up on top there where it says Live Yellowstone Seismograph, station over there just east or west of the Old Faithful Geyser region. And I kind of wanted to keep that up there just by itself, not in the scrolling effect. That way it kind of goes along with the live feed and whatnot. So that's kind of an addition to the screen that you're seeing right here. Also included a couple stations there in the scrolling graph, one in Oklahoma, since it seems to be a little bit active in that region right now. And also a station right there coming up on the screen, Port Moresby, New Guinea. As we know and have seen in the past, there's been quite a bit of earthquake activity in that region for an extended period following that large 7.5 they had there quite some time ago. Here's the current look at the earthquake 3D globe. You can see a couple of deep earthquakes near the Fiji Islands region. Once again, 4.7. Looks like these two look tied. Am I seeing that right? A 4.7 and also a 4.4 tied earthquake as far as the deepness goes. So definitely keep an eye on that region there. It's an area to watch for some deep activity. And of course, I've always been one to mention, anytime we see this deeper activity, especially that's 673 kilometers below the surface there, so a lot of movement being recorded way down there. And anyway, I like to be on alert for any kind of further movement, because when we see these deep earthquakes, we tend to watch for larger movement along that same plate, in this case the Pacific plate. Northern California, a little bit of activity picking up. I'll get to that here in just a minute, and I'll show you why. Some more continued activity there in southern Mexico region, but other than that, not a whole lot. Nothing too major going on. Of course, Chile's got their typical smaller earthquakes down there with a couple fours registering, and yeah, so not a whole lot, folks. I mean, pretty mellow. Mediterranean Sea region, a couple, actually a 4.4, a little larger earthquake there. You can see that right up here in this flag that I'm going to pop up. Blue flag, 4.4, and a couple smaller 2s out there around the area as well. But getting back to California, I want to show you guys here real quick something, and pop up here on the map. Show you guys what's going on. Let's go over here. Okay, so here's the latest interactive tremor map, and we're seeing an uptick in activity in Northern California. Now, what's underneath Northern California? What's underneath this map that you see? Well, it's the Cascadia subduction zone that extends into a portion of Northern California, inland here just a little bit, and then stretches up through western Washington, western Oregon, and into Vancouver Island region, and up into this area a tad bit. And that's the section called the Cascadia subduction zone. It's a section where the North American plate and the Pacific plate over here to the west tend to subduct. Meaning that the Pacific plate subducts underneath the North American plate there. A little tongue twister. It's just been one of those days. Anyway, tremor movement is being detected in Northern California. Now, if you look here on the map, it's mostly confined into one spot. Now, I don't believe we've seen this type of activity in quite some time. Now, I know the last time that we've seen a cluster of quakes like this was up around the southern Vancouver Island region, up north of Washington. And in California, Northern California gets this periodic red dots, you know, the epicenters, so to speak, of these tremors. But this time it's mostly confined and heavily populated just in the northern Sacramento Valley here, up by Red Bluff, Rancho Tehama Reserve. The valley tends to end right around this region here. If you've ever been in Sacramento Valley, it's just nothing but flat land through the Northern California region. You got the western coast range over here, coastal mountains to the west, the Siskiyous and the Shasta Mountain, Mount Shasta up here, and also the Sierra Nevada mountains over here to the east. And then between these regions, you have a valley, pretty smooth valley, and those mountains start forming right above Red Bluff and in the Cottonwood, Anderson, and once you get up in Redding, you get some more mountains as well. So it's right around the area where the mountains and the valley tend to meet right here, over on the northwestern side of that valley. And a little bit more over here, a little sporadic, separate activity just off towards Paynes Creek. Now in this region right here, Paynes Creek and whatnot, you got Mount Lassen up here towards the east, northeast a little bit more, but I don't believe that's associated with anything that's going on there. This is well over 50 kilometers from Mount Lassen. But there is some activity ongoing underneath the surface, being detected by this tremor detection system right here called pnsn.org. That's a Pacific site up here that monitors this type of development. Got an earthquake coming in here, so see exactly what it is. 3.6 it appears, up in the Alaska region, 21 kilometers below the surface. But getting back to the tremor map here, it's definitely something to watch for increased activity here in California. Nothing abnormal right now in this area that I was showing you guys. This is the area, same area, Red Bluff, Redding, and whatnot here in the Sacramento Valley. Just there's no earthquakes being detected. Just tremor movement, and that slow frequency movement, slow subduction of this certain area underneath the plate here. That's this equipment is picking up. Definitely going to watch this very closely here and see how the intensity picks up, or if it does, it may just calm down and mellow out. We'll have to see. Either way, Cascadia subduction zone region right in here. Yellowstone National Park. Let's check the Maple Creek region. Looks fairly quiet. A couple sporadic spikes here and there once in a while, but nothing like the swarm that we were seeing a while back. Interference once again over here in the northeastern section. Just adjustments in the instruments themselves. It's being recorded in that type of format. Let's see what else we got. One thing I did. Here's Lake Yellowstone. This right here may be some type of interference as well. You can see like little something going on. Maybe possibly a geyser or something going on underneath this region. But I also like to look at other stations and see if it picked it up, and this reading was not picked up on any other station. So that's how I conclude the interference pattern. And the only thing that kind of makes me wonder is this area right here. Take a look. Okay, it starts over here, Old Faithful, at least you can see on this map, Moose Creek, Idaho, and Flag Ranch. We'll go with this one down here, okay? The area that I'm watching and looking for is this specific weirdness right here. Now, if this was just confined, folks, to one seismograph station, I would be calling the interference pattern again. But it's not. And this station right here picked it up a little bit as well, but it's possible this station may be set to a different instrument pickup, so to speak. You know, the sensitivity may be set a little bit too high to where it's just barely picking it up. But on these other three stations, including Old Faithful right here, you can see it being picked up as well. See, it's kind of a long duration, I don't know, a quake? I don't know if it's an earthquake or not, because when you see earthquakes, this here's your typical earthquake spike. See how it's short-lived and it's spiky, right? This here is kind of like a, I'm guessing probably in 5-10 minutes of noise, movement. I mean, is this a geyser type signature, or is this something else that's going on? Is this maybe, you know, if I had seen this all throughout the park, if this had been like a signature all throughout the park with a large moment like that, you know, 10 to 15 minutes of movement, I would suggest that's some type of magma movement. But it's not. It's basically confined into the southwest corner of the park, but it is still registering on these seismograph stations individually, and that's what puzzles me. You can see the two, I mean, they're definitely distinct, and you can tell that it's different than the earthquake. There's another spike of an earthquake. This here is just longer duration, and that's interesting here. I'm going to have to get back to you guys on that and do a little bit more studying and find out what's going on with that. See what type of geysers are in the region. If not, then there's no geysers. I'm sure there is, but we'll take a look at it after I do some research on it. Just interesting little signature there. But anyway, hopefully, what is today? Today's Monday. The dreaded Monday. Not a good thing. And of course, Oklahoma, they had a couple 4s up there. Let's take a look at that real quick here again. That was the 4.2. What was that earlier this morning? I believe they had a couple of them, so to speak, there. I believe. Let's zoom in here real quick and take a look, unless they drop one of those. 4.2 and a couple 2s. But of course, we'd have to go back a couple days. We can go back 7 days, magnitude 2.5 and above, to see the multiple or the back-to-back 2s that they had in this part of the state. And once again, that is still confined to northern Oklahoma, those two 4.2s. Let's see if I can go with the terrain here, take a little bit better. And that's, of course, northeast of Enid. I now pronounce that correctly. Beautiful town, gone through there a couple times, and beautiful state of Oklahoma. But yeah, definitely some activity going on near Enid and near Ponca City. Hopefully I pronounced that as right. I know Stillwater as well is pronounced correctly. But looks like they had, just within this region here, two 4.2s and 2.7 and 2.6 there over the last 24, 48 hours. And no doubt, quite a few people reported feeling it. And that's another area we're watching. That's why I kind of included the data station from an Oklahoma station there onto the graphs here that are scrolling off onto the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see Oklahoma pop up here near Wichita Mountains, Oklahoma. That station is. But a little distance from Enid, but still, nonetheless, it will pick up any kind of activity that's going on out there in the state of Oklahoma. We'll see if this live stream stays on. Hopefully it does. It's been giving me some problems again, but we'll figure it out. Never give up. All right, folks, have a great night. Stay safe out there. As always, have an earthquake plan. If you don't know what an earthquake plan is, you might want to look that up and be prepared, because earthquakes can strike without any warning for the most part, and also can strike anywhere. So, all right, folks, take care.